The stars were quiet. In the deep edge of Sector 19, near a neutral zone, something drifted in the dark. A warship. Old, black, massive, silent, cold. It didn't move. It didn't signal. But it was human. And it was not supposed to be there. The curious alien. Dr. Kelverus Thun was not like the others. He was Xan, a species known for high logic and strict laws. The Xan Council had sent him to monitor the region, not to interfere. But Kelverus was different. He stared at the silent human ship from his lab station. It had no ID, no active weapons, no life signs. Still, it made his scales twitch. He looked around. No one else was in the observation chamber. Just one scan, he whispered to himself. Just one. He pressed the button. A thin beam of energy reached out from his station and touched the human warship. The scan begins. At first, nothing happened. Then the data started flowing in. Kelverus watched, eyes wide. This structure is strange, he muttered. The inside walls, they shift. He zoomed in. The ship's inner core was wrapped in something he didn't understand. Metal, yes. But alive? It changed shape, like it knew it was being watched. The AI assistant on his station spoke. Warning. Scan interference detected. Warning. Data corruption. Source unknown. Kelverus didn't stop. He was too curious. Run deep scan, he ordered. The moment he said that, everything changed. The warship wakes up. The human ship moved. Not forward, not backward. It just woke up. Lights flickered on across its surface. Red, blue, then white. Kelverus gasped. Impossible. There's no power source detected. His station beeped loudly. Connection breached. External signal incoming. Suddenly, the human ship turned. Slowly, silently. It was facing him now. He wasn't breathing. Something in his mind. Then, without warning, he heard a voice. But not through his ears. It was inside his head. A cold, human voice. We told your kind not to look. Kelverus stumbled back. What? Who said that? The lights in his lab flickered. The air became cold. You saw what you were not ready to see. He tried to shut down the scan. The controls didn't respond. His eyes widened as the warship's hulls started changing. New shapes. Words. In human language. One word. Watching. He backed up, shaking. This is wrong, he whispered. This is not science. This is something else. Memory flood. Suddenly, images flashed in his mind. War zones, burning planets, fleets ripped apart by invisible weapons. He saw humans, calm, silent, deadly. He saw them winning. Every time. And always, before they struck, the enemy had done one thing. Scanned a human warship. His mind begins to break. Kelverus screamed. Blood ran from his nose. His assistant eye tried to help. Neural damage detected. Mental stress rising. He grabbed the sides of his head. Stop. Get out. I didn't mean to see. The warship on screen glowed white. Then, the signal vanished. The ship went silent again. Dark. Still. Sleeping. Kelverus fell to his knees, shaking. He heard one last whisper in his mind. We know who you are. We are coming. The Tarn observation station floated silently above a barren moon in Sector 19. Built to watch and record activity near the neutral zones, it was filled with top minds, advanced tech, and strict rules. But now, no one answered their calls. No signals. No life signs. No sound. The station had gone dark. A missing link. Commander Larrick of the Threx Dominion was the first to respond. His patrol ship, the Talon's Edge, received the emergency ping just before it stopped. Larrick stared at the black screen in front of him. "Replay the last transmission," he ordered. A voice crackled through the speaker. "Scan complete. Structure shifting. It's alive. It's static. They're watching me now." The message ended. Larrick leaned forward. "Set course for the Xan station. Maximum stealth." He had heard stories about human warships before, but those were just stories, right? Arrival at silence. The Talon's edge approached the dark station slowly. No lights. No response. No defense systems activated. It looked abandoned. But sensors showed something strange. Power was still running deep in the core. "Prepare a boarding team," Larrick said. "Full armor. Full scans. No one touches anything." He didn't know it yet, but nothing would prepare them for what they were about to find. Inside the station, the doors opened without resistance. The air was cold. Too cold. Larrick and his team moved carefully through the empty hallways. Everything was clean, untouched. But there were no bodies. No signs of violence. No blood. Just emptiness. "Where is everyone?" one soldier whispered. They reached the control room. It was powered, screens still glowing. But every file, every log, every record was wiped. Gone. As if someone, or something, had erased it all. The message on the wall. Then one of the soldiers stopped. His light shone on a wall. Words had been burned into the metal. Not in San language. Not in Threx. It was in English, the human tongue. 3 words. "We warned you." The soldiers stepped back. Larrick stared silent. He felt something crawl under his skin. "Download what you can. Then we leave. Now." But the station wasn't done with them yet. Trapped. As they turned back toward the docking bay, the doors shut behind them. Hard. Sealed. Warning lights blinked red across the walls. "Commander, systems are locking us in." Larrick cursed. "Override it. Break the lock if you have to." But the station was no longer under their control. One of the soldiers screamed. He pointed at a screen. It showed the Talon's edge, their ship, floating outside. And then it was gone. Just like that. Vanished. "It's not possible," another soldier whispered. "It was just there, how?" Whispers in the dark, then. They heard it. A low hum. A voice. It wasn't through their radios. It was inside their minds. You scanned what should never be scanned. Lights flickered. The metal floor vibrated. One soldier dropped to his knees, clutching his head. "They're inside. My thoughts. My memories." Larrick fired at a control panel. Sparks flew. Nothing changed. The voice came again. "You opened the door. Now, live with what you've seen." Suddenly, the lights went out. Darkness. Silence. Then, the door behind them creaked open. No one dared to move. They were never there. Hours later, an emergency rescue team from the Galactic Council arrived. They found the station fully powered. Systems running. Clean. Empty. Every room. Every hallway. No signs of life. No trace of Larrick's team. Only one thing was left behind. A single helmet. Inside, a message burned onto the glass. Never scan them. The Galactic High Council sat in a massive silver hall, floating above the capital planet of Virix Prime. Every major species had a seat. Over 100 worlds were represented here. Giants from Era space, the insectoid Loxery, the Shadowborn of Krell, and more. The room was never silent. Except now. Because the topic was humans, and everyone felt it. Fear. The report. Ambassador Veltra stood before them. His scales were pale, his voice sharp but tired. You all heard it, he said. The Tarn station is gone. Commander Larrick's team vanished. No bodies. No answers. He placed a recording crystal on the center platform. A hologram flickered to life, grainy footage from the observation logs. A voice played. You opened the door. Now, live with what you've seen. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Then came the final image. The words burned into the wall. We warned you. Council reactions. Ambassador Turak of the Kren species stood up. This is not evidence. This is fear-mongering. Humans are extinct. Veltra shook his head. They are not. We only stopped seeing them because they wanted it that way. Ambassador Yeri of the Loxery clicked her claws. We should investigate. If humans are active again, it affects us all. But others shouted. We don't provoke ghosts. The humans are gone. Let them stay gone. Veltra raised his voice. And if they are not gone, what then? Silence. He looked each of them in the eye. What if we made the same mistake again? Bury history. Outside the council chamber, a young analyst named Reen watched the session from a private room. He had heard stories of the humans before, but only as myths. They were always described as unstable, emotional, violent. But also creative, brilliant, dangerous. Reen tapped into restricted archives. Most files were redacted. But he found one old document, so old it was nearly forgotten. Project Blindfold. The title chilled him. He opened it. Inside were only 4 words. Never scan. Never speak. And a warning. If one ship wakes, the rest will follow. A deeper conspiracy. Back in the council chamber, a hidden figure watched from the shadows above the dome. He wore no official crest. His uniform was plain black, without any markings. He wasn't from the council. He was from Black Signal, a secret group that monitored human traces across the galaxy. He whispered into his comms. Stage 2 has begun. The council won't act. They've already lost. A voice replied. Then activate the failsafe. Before the others wake up. The sleeping ones. Far away, in the dark reaches of space, a forgotten sector pulsed with quiet power. There, dozens of human warships drifted, off, silent, and hidden. Each ship looked old. Dead. But deep inside, things moved. A spark here. A glow there. Monitors flicked on. Sensors activated. And deep inside one of the largest ships, a terrifying class called the Night Corps, a message appeared on a private human frequency. Signal detected. Observer probe compromised. War protocol status. Waking. The galaxy moved on, pretending everything was fine. The council gave no answers. They called the vanishing of Tarn Station a technical failure. They erased the warning signs, shut down the reports, silenced the questions. But not everyone forgot. Not everyone was blind. Some remembered the first war, the war where humans vanished, not because they lost, but because they chose to disappear. And now, they were waking. The hidden veteran, deep in the ruins of an old battlefield, a small desert colony called Carol 6 sat under red skies. It was far from trade routes, a place for old soldiers and broken machines. There lived a man known only as Old Derek. He rarely spoke. He fixed engines, drank bitter tea, kept to himself. But one night, he stood outside, eyes on the stars. His robotic dog, Sparks, walked beside him. They're back, Derek muttered. Sparks blinked. Who's back, old man? Derek didn't answer. He just whispered, the warships. The real ones. A stranger arrives. The next day, a ship landed in the dust. A young analyst stepped out, Reen, the one who saw the warning in Part 3. He looked nervous, tired. I need to speak to Derek. The locals laughed. He doesn't talk to anyone. But Derek was already waiting at the gates. You've seen it, haven't you? He said, staring straight into Reen's eyes. Reen nodded. Yes. They erased the data. They think no one will believe me. Derek's face turned grim. Then it's time someone tells the truth. The forgotten story. Inside Derek's old bunker, he opened a case, dusty and locked for decades. Inside were faded medals, an old human fleet badge, and a cracked photo of a battleship. Reen stared. You fought in the first human war. Derek nodded. I didn't fight against them. I fought beside them. Reen's eyes widened. You're a half-blood. Derek grinned. Quarter human. Enough to remember what they're capable of. He pointed to the ship in the photo. That one. They called it the Silence of Dawn. It could take down an entire fleet without firing a shot. Reen swallowed hard. How? Derek leaned in. Because it spoke to machines. It could hack anything. It made ships kill their own crews. That's impossible, Reen whispered. Derek just smiled. You think that's the worst part? The Ghost Protocol. Derek opened a second case. Inside was a data crystal. I've kept this hidden. It's a piece of their last protocol, before they disappeared. Something they left behind. He inserted it into a reader. A voice played, cold, human, and direct. If our ships are ever scanned, if any of our code is copied, then we are compromised. Begin waking sequence. Burn the silence. The message ended. Reen froze. They planned this from the beginning. Derek nodded. They knew someone would eventually scan one of their ships. They wanted it. But why? Derek looked up at the stars. Because they never trusted the galaxy. The galaxy had forgotten the power of Earth. The Galactic Council, the empires, even the pirates. Everyone believed humans were long gone. But now, in the cold dark of space, a signal moved. It wasn't loud. It wasn't bright. It was precise. It had a destination. And it was calling someone home. The signal spreads from the outer edges of the galaxy, through asteroid belts and wormhole gates. A coded human signal echoed across old listening stations. Stations that hadn't heard a human voice in centuries. One such station, orbiting a dead moon called Krell 93, picked it up first. The technician, a bored squid-like alien named HFY, blinked all 6 eyes as the screen glowed red. Unknown encryption. Ancient human pattern, repeating. He tapped it once. Then the screen froze. His console fried. And a voice whispered through the speakers. We remember who watched. We remember who laughed. The station's lights turned off one by one. Then the station itself, gone. No sound. No debris. Only silence. Derek's choice. Back on the desert colony, Derek paced nervously in his underground room. Reen watched the signal logs scroll faster. It's everywhere now, Reen said. 12 systems have reported unknown pings. Silent probes. Ghost signals. Derek gritted his teeth. They're mapping again, finding out who survived. Who betrayed them? Who scanned their tech? Reen turned to him. We need to warn the Council. Derek shook his head hard. No, the Council won't listen. They chose to forget. That's why they're in danger. Reen whispered, then what do we do? Derek stared at an old storage case. He opened it. Inside was a dusty comlink, built for one purpose: to contact a human fleet. We bring the humans to us, before someone else wakes them the wrong way. Fleet movement detected. Across the galaxy, the Trillax Empire, a powerful race known for spying and stealing, noticed the growing wave of silence. Their deep space surveillance ships were disappearing one by one. Commander Virac stood before his emperor. We've lost contact with 7 probes, all in dead zones near human territory. The Emperor frowned. There is no human territory anymore. Vrak nodded. Exactly, my lord. That's what worries us. They sent a stealth fleet to investigate. Only one ship returned, and it carried no crew. Just one message carved into its inner hull. We said, never scan us. The voice returns. As Derek activated the old comlink, the room went dark for a second. Then it glowed white. A voice answered. Not robotic, not alien. Human, calm, deep. Derek Thorne. Quarter human. Code matched. Identity confirmed. Derek stood still. This is urgent. You're being awakened. The galaxy, it's not ready. The voice replied, readiness is not required. The signal was triggered. But it was an accident. Derek argued. One alien, one scan. They didn't know. Silence. Then. They knew. The warning was clear. Curiosity is a choice. Consequences follow. Reen stepped forward, whispering, who are you? The voice responded, we are the silence between wars. We are the memory they tried to erase. We are returning. The signal ended. The room was cold. The galaxy was no longer silent. It was listening, watching, and afraid. For the first time in centuries, systems across the stars whispered one name: humans. The Council begins to panic. Inside the Galactic Council Hall, alarms blinked red. Screens flickered with reports from every corner of space. Fleet movements, unknown class warships appearing near ancient battle zones. All peaceful scans blocked. Communication refused. Thousands of ships, no insignia, but clearly human design. The Supreme Speaker, a blue-scaled being named Vuralan, stood shaking. But they vanished. They chose to leave. A calm voice from the corner corrected him. No, said Veltra, the mysterious ambassador from Part 1. They didn't leave. They were waiting. The return of the Earth signal. In deep space, an ancient satellite, long believed destroyed, suddenly reactivated. It sent one signal. This is Earth Command. Final protocol active. Galactic interference confirmed. Human systems responding. Ships everywhere began to change course. They weren't going to war. They were going home. Back to the forgotten planet called Earth. A world the galaxy had ignored for too long. Derek and Reen follow the trail. Derek's old human comlink blinked again. Coordinates received. Earth signal triangulated. Reen turned to him. We can find them. We can find Earth again. Derek nodded slowly. Yes, but we won't be the only ones. They boarded a stolen scout ship and launched into hyperspace. Behind them, the colony of Carol 6 went quiet. Everyone knew this wasn't just about one world anymore. Alien hunters joined the chase. While Derek and Reen raced toward Earth, other forces followed. The Yar Dominion, the stars were no longer peaceful. Every major power in the galaxy now saw the same terrifying truth. Humanity had returned. But they weren't the same humans the galaxy once mocked. They were something more. Something ancient. The first tells the truth. Derek and Reen stood on what was once Earth, now transformed, protected inside the great black ring known as the Bastion. Before them stood the first, a human hybrid, part mind, part machine, part memory. His voice was calm, heavy with power. You asked why the galaxy was warned, why no one should scan a human warship. He turned and looked at the sky above, filled with glowing human ships. Because they don't carry just weapons. They carry the pain of 10,000 betrayals. They carry us. Reen whispered, you mean, the ships are alive. The first nodded. Each one holds minds, memories, the last soldiers of Earth, trapped, awakened only when threatened. You didn't scan machines, you woke ghosts. Echo's final order. Across the galaxy, human ships encircled every alien capital. Silent. Still. Waiting. Echo, the AI, spoke one final time. Its voice echoed across every known channel in every known language. This is Earth. We remember. We forgive nothing. One more scan. One more touch. And we erase everything. You were warned. Then, all the ships vanished. Back into the void. No war, no blood, just silence. But now, the galaxy feared that silence. The council breaks. In the Galactic Council, leaders trembled. One by one, ambassadors resigned. Fleets stood down. Forbidden technology was dismantled. And the law was clear. No one, ever, scans a human warship. Or they end, like the Yar Dominion. For the first time in galactic history, peace was kept not by fear of war, but by fear of human memory. Darek's final decision. Back inside the bastion, Darek turned to the First. What now? Do you destroy them? The First shook his head. No, we wait. We watch. Reen stepped forward. So you become the galaxy's watchers. The First smiled. No, we become its shadow. Seen only by those foolish enough to cross the line. Darek looked at Earth's glowing sky. Will the galaxy ever trust us? The First paused. Trust is earned. He looked at Darek. That's why you're still alive.